Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be doing something a little bit different. I just want to see how it works, and basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing Stacey's makeup. Stacey is my model for today, and what we're going to do is we're just going to do a look on her. I think this is going to help a lot of people who aspire to work on clients. It's going to give them a great idea of how to do the techniques on them, but it's also going to be great for people who just want to know how to do makeup on themselves. It is my first time doing this style of YouTube video, so I have no idea how it's going to go, and at this moment in time I have no idea how it's going to edit. I will have known by the time you're watching this, but fingers crossed it all goes really well, and because I'm super excited because I'd love to be able to do more tutorials like this. It shows different techniques on different eye shapes and so on. But yeah, so if you do like the video, make sure to like it down below and subscribe and comment what you want to see next. Okay, so just starting off, I'm taking a clean spoolie and I'm just brushing up through Stacey's brow. So this is giving me a nice shape underneath, and this is going to kind of determine what shape brow we're going to be going with Stacey. Yes, we do obviously go with our lines, but we also do have to stick with her natural hair line also. Okay, so starting from the front of the brow at the bottom, this is where we're going to start our line. So we're just slowly going to follow the shape of the brow out and down the tail. So with no extra product on the brush, we're now just going to brush up through the front of the brow. This is going to give you that soft effect to the front, and it means that you won't have that blocky square finish to your brow. Now taking that spoolie again, we're now just going to brush the hairs down on the brow. And this is going to give you an idea of the shape to the top of the brow. So again, going in, we're just going to follow that shape. So if your client doesn't have hair towards the end of the brow, or it's not as full, this is where you can overdraw slightly and give the effect of having a full arch. So we're just filling in that gap there now, and this is just like colouring inside the lines. And then as you get to the front of the brow again, brushing up the way with no excess product, and this is just working in so we have that nice ombre effect to the front of the brow. So taking that spoolie again, we're just going to brush up and make sure everything is nice, smooth and blended. And this is where you're looking now to see if you've any gaps that you've missed. So we can see here now that we just need to fill in this little line here a little bit more. And with a bit more product, we're just going to fill that in. Now, so you can see there what the difference between two brows. It does look drastic now. We are going with the heavy eye, so when we have the full face makeup on, it will balance out. But you can see how that arch really defines Stacey's face. So it really lifts up that brow bone and opens the eye and definitely gives it a definite shape to Stacey's face. Okay, so taking the Pro Conceal, which is my all-time favourite concealer, it's the only concealer I use, and a flat brush, I'm now going to carve out the brow. And this is where you don't have to be too careful about how your initial brow went on, because if you did make any mistakes, this is where you're going to be able to get rid of them. So I carve out the brow, and then so I'm also going to apply this all over the eye, because this is going to start as my eyeshadow base. And the purpose of this is to block out any coloration, any veins, anything like that, and give you a completely blank base to work off of. It will also mean that your shadow the pigments of your shadows will really bounce as well. And then I just like to pat that all in to make sure it's completely set. People always ask me, why do you do the brows first, or why do you do your eyes first? It completely depends on what look I'm doing. So if I'm doing kind of a look that has a lot of glitter in it or anything like that, I'll always do my eyes first, because if any fallout, I don't want it to affect my foundation. If I'm doing like a really smoky, blown out eye that I'm really going to drag out toward the outer corner of the eye and under the eye, I will do my foundation first, because I don't want to have any sharp edges when I put my foundation on, if that makes sense. I want everything to be really blown out, and that's the only time I will do my foundation first. So I'm now going to set that base. I'm using a cream shadow, or you can use a white shadow or a translucent powder, anything that's not really going to affect the colour of the base you've just applied. And I'm using a big fluffy brush. This shadow is Inglot 351. I'm just applying that all over the lid, and the point of this is to set your concealer. So if you have hooded eyes or anything like that, which Stacey does have, this is really important because it will stop your shadow from creasing or moving throughout the night or day. So the next step now is to highlight the brow bone. I'm using MAC Nylon. This is my favourite highlighter for the brow bone. It's so nice, and just a really small brush because we want to get right underneath that brow. Okay, so we're popping this right up here, and smaller strokes the better, because that's going to really apply the product. So I'm pressing down and nearly just swiveling it on the eye, and that's going to pack that product on. If you have hooded eyes, my recommendation is to keep your highlighter as high as possible under the brow. You don't want to be highlighting, if you open up there, Stace, you don't want to be highlighting this area any more than what it already is. So keeping it up higher isn't going to exaggerate the size of this hood, as I call it. So for this eye look, I'm going to be using shadows from the Blank Canvas Master Series Palette 1. And the shadow that I'm going to be going in with first is Forza, and the brush I'm going to be using is a MAC 217. So this has a fluffy head, but it's still quite a small fluffy head, if that makes sense. So it means that you can actually really get detailed as to where you're putting the shadow. Okay, so I'm packing that shadow on the outside. And then when I get rid of most of the product, this is where I'm going to start blending up into the crease area. So small little circles, blending that product out. Going in and getting more product and packing that on, and once all the product is off the brush, then you're going to start blending it out again. So you can see where the pigment is starting to increase on the eye. We have this shape here going on, and then as it tapers out, or as it fades out should I say, it becomes softer and there's a nice blend to it. Going in with more product and packing that on the eye. Now, so as you see, it nearly looks like I have two different shadows on, but I do only have the one shadow on. But it's because I'm packing it on and then blending it out. And then softening those edges. And as I always say, the lower down you hold your brush, the more flexible it's going to be. So look at it like a wand, as I say to some of my students. When you're lower down, it's more flexible. As the higher you get, the less movement you have. So you want it that the brush does the blending for you. So the next colour we're going to go into is Hickory, and I'm using just a small pencil-like brush. This is an AYU brush, and it has no number on it, so it's just the pencil brush. This is going to allow you to get more detailed as to where you're applying product. So as before, packing on that product in the outer corner, and then when there's little or no product left on it, this is when you're going to bring your blend across. So the important part here now is to not go as high as our first shade, because that's where you're going to start getting mucky, you're going to lose your transitions. You want to notice your change through colours. So we're placing it on getting rid of most of our product, and this is then where you blend. So teeny tiny little circles again. Then when you have the colour intensity that you want, you go back in with your first brush with no product on it, and this is where you're going to blend that out. If you find you're losing your first colour a little bit, go back in with a little bit of Forza and blend that out. So every time you apply a colour, you must go back in with the previous colour, and this is how you're going to keep your transitions. Okay, so just going in with another clean pencil brush. I have some black shadow on this. Any black shadow that you like using will do. And this is, I just want to tap this on the outside and start building up some depth onto the outer corner. Black is definitely a colour where I would recommend going in with less at the start and then building it up, because once you put too much black in, you can't go back from it. Well, it's very hard to go back from it, and it can get quite mucky quite fast. So that's why I like taking a little product at a time. And as you can see this fallout here, this is why I don't put my foundation on first. Yes, you can use shadow shields and things like that, but I just find it easier just to wipe it away. So we're just building that. Now going in with our previous pencil brush and with no product on it, and we're just going to soften out those lines. So I'm just doing really small circles on the line of that black. So now just going back in with that flat brush and concealer, this is where the fun bit begins. So Stacey has demanded a glittery eye, so I'm giving her a glittery eye. So this is where I'm going to carve out the crease. So basically with a bit of concealer, you just want to start going in and carving it out. So I like to kind of do a really rough circle first. I'm going to get Stacey to open her eye now. So once we can see that crease and it doesn't, if you close down now and it doesn't transfer anywhere, we're happy with how high that cut crease has gone. So now we just want to even it out and make it look all pretty. So I like leaving it in this kind of shape because I find it adds more drama in towards the inner corner of the eye. I don't like kind of leaving it in a line. It's just personal preference. You guys can do it whatever way you want to do it. And now I'm just patting over that line so it blends out. I don't know if you can see that glitter, but this is the glitter I'm using. It is from MAC. I haven't set that concealer because I want the glitter to stick to it. So with a little small brush, I'm just going to pat that in. And with glitter, it's better just to take it small pieces and take your time, because if you start swiping it and going 90 with loads of glitter, it's literally just going to look like a hot mess. So my camera rudely went out of battery, so I just went and done this eye while we were waiting for a little bit of charge, bring the camera over a bit more. But as I was saying, you just want to go in with a bit more black, and this is where you kind of start blending out this area here. So pop a bit of product on, then go back in with your other pencil brush that had the brown on it, and then start blending up this way. So you just want to make it look like you have like a really nice soft blend to that eye. Looks super messy, but we'll get rid of all that. And then when you're happy with the blend, we're going to move on to liner. And then it's the same with this eye over here. We just want to make sure that that blend is really nice. Hi! So we're back. Camera trouble is going to drive me insane. So we went ahead and done one eye. So that is the finished eye there. So that's what this eye, the other eye, is going to look like. So yeah, let's get started and pray to the camera gods that this little bugger doesn't act up on me again. So with the Inglot 77 and an angled brush, I'm going to show you guys how I do the eyeliner. Inglot Durline will be your best friend. You want your gel liner to be quite liquid. So if I show you there, I have a lot of liquid going on in here. So it's going to go on easier if it's more liquidy. So taking the product, I like to hold the eyebrow up and then just start applying it. Twisting that the point is out the way then when you're doing the corner, and then dragging it back in. If your client's eye moves, just place your thumb on the lid and that will actually keep the eye steady for you. But just keep going step by step. Pulling that liner. So for this look, we're actually going quite heavy with the liner out here because I want it to be quite dark and make it a dark effect out this way and then taper it towards the inner corner. I always say liner smells fear, so just don't fear it, just go with it. You know, what's the worst that could happen? You know, just do it. So on the inner corner part, I'm just going to get a bit more product. So if Stacey opens her eyes slightly and follows this brush to here and holds here, this allows me to get towards the inner corner. Just make sure you give your client time to blink and then go back in. And then you're done. Okay, so towards this outside area here, I'm just taking more black and I'm just blacking that out because we want it to look as if the eyeliner goes into nothing, just fades out. So now Stacey opens up, put on your nose, sorry. If you go in with the baby wipe now and just wipe that all away. So now just going back in with a bit of concealer as before, we're just priming the under eye. So we're just going to apply this all down around here. It doesn't have to be incredibly neat. Bring that out there. And then I'm just going to buff it so it's nice and even. So following the exact same steps as the under eye, we're just setting right under the eye. I'm not setting anywhere down here because we're still going to put foundation, but just purely setting where we're going to apply some product, which is just there. Going in with our first shadow Forza and our first brush, popping that down. Going in with our pencil brush and hickory and popping that on. Going back in with our first brush and blending that out. And then with any fallout, you can go back in with that fluffy brush that we put the neutral powder on and blend that out. So I'm now just going into the inner corner with nylon, the same as what we did on the brow bone, and just popping that on the inner corner for the highlight and just making sure that's nice and blended out. So for the waterline, I'm using MAC, and this is Feline. This is a black eyeliner pencil. So for lashes, we're using So Sue's Lash in Holly, and basically you want to pop it on the eye with no glue on it and make sure it fits. I already know this fits because I have the other one, but if it doesn't, you want to cut from the outer end of the lash rather than the inner corner. So with the glue on, I like to like leave it for a minute and wait for it to go tacky, and when it does go tacky it makes it so much easier to pop it on. Okay, so the camera yet again played me. Okay, first guys time doing this, guys. Okay, next time I'm telling you we'll be coming in storm. But as you see, I have half of Stacey's face done and we're going to do the other half now. So using MAC oil control, I'm going to put this all over the skin. So I'm just applying this everywhere. That obviously I haven't done on the other half side of the face. And I'm putting oil. Stacey's skin isn't quite oily, but she's gigging tonight, so she's going to be on stage, so I want to add any protection I can to keep that on her. So that is on her skin now. For foundation, I'm going to be using the Inglot YSM foundation, and I'm just applying that all over the skin. Also, I would like to note that Stacey is putting tan on later. That is why it does not match her skin. I'm not a lunatic, she is. No, no, she's going to match it up. So we're just bringing it down the neck. On a note on matching foundations, you'll hear a lot of people say to match it to your neck. Please don't. This is like an airport. Please don't match your foundation to your neck. Match it to your chest. So if you imagine you're walking down the seafront, all romantic, does the sun get your neck? Generally not. Your sun hits your chest. So if you match it to your neck, you're going to end up with a wider face than your chest is. So do match it to your chest and have a look in the mirror and make sure it overall suits your skin tone from your neck to your hands, everything. You want to take in everything into consideration because you want it to look as flawless as possible. You don't want it to look like you have foundation on your skin. Yes, you do want a full coverage sometimes, but you don't want to look caked, that it doesn't match and that it doesn't blend in seamlessly. Don't forget, girls who's wearing tan, make sure to get the ears. We don't want white ears and we want to make sure it's up here. If you are doing a girl that has her hair up on the night, make sure you just go around the back of the neck and make sure she hasn't missed it with tan, because you don't want that line either. Or else Stacey's getting her face bet. But just make sure everything is nice and blendy. A concealer, you're going to start doing a bit of highlighting. So this is your kind of like a cream highlight. I just like to do it to add a bit of depth to the face, and that is what you do there. Now I like to just buff that out with a little buffer brush. Like so. Sorry, you can't see that in the camera. And then going back in with your foundation brush and just making sure all those edges are seamless. So I'm just using the number 7 translucent powder. This is lovely because there's no flashback or anything like that on it. Wears really well, it's light on the skin, and I'm just setting the areas that I have put that concealer on. If you prefer a matte finish on your foundation, you set everywhere, but I just want to set the areas because I want her really glowy on stage. For bronzer, I'm using Note. This is shade 10. It is my favourite at the minute, and I'm using a BB05. It is an awesome brush, needed in everybody's kit. So just coming down from the top of the ear down to cheek, I'm blending that out. Top of the forehead and under the jawline. Please don't forget, Stacey is putting tan on at home later. I feel like I have to keep like flashing, warning. Tan will be applied. But yeah, no, she will be applying tan. So you just want to keep going until you kind of get that depth that you want. But it is just so fab. The blush I'm applying is from Wet n Wild. This is Melon Wine, and it's a lovely like nude blush. It's so nice. The brush I'm applying with is a blank canvas F15, and this is perfect for applying blush because it just fits right on that area. Now, I don't tell my clients to smile when applying blush, because I find that if Stacey was to smile and I popped it right on the apples and she was to stop smiling, it drops. So you're not actually getting that high area of the cheek. So I prefer just to keep them as is and just to pick where I want it to go myself. I'm just bringing that up a little bit and blending it out. The highlight I'm using is NARS Albatross, and it is a gorgeous goldy kind of highlight. And we're just applying that to the highest point of the cheekbone in like a nice little C shape. So now Stacey looks forward. We're also applying it to the top of the lip, to the top of the nose, and I like to apply it just above the brow to give that kind of dewy effect. So the lip we're going with is a Colourpop lip, and these are great for wearability and they last forever. With a matte lip, I generally don't line, I don't feel the need to, so I'm not going to waste my time, because I can do the line with the matte and I know it's not going to run, whereas with a lipstick I will line because those bad boys like to play me. Okay, so we've just applied some lippy and now we're just going to pop on the mascara. If you just look straight ahead, mascara I like to just apply like so. And after all of that, just with a clean fluffy brush, I just like to go over everything to make sure I have no funny lines anywhere whatsoever. All just kind of seamlessly blends. Again? No? And then give us a smile. Hello!